Hi, I'm Johnny Hernandez, and welcome again to our second video blog entry of JJH Auto Body and Paint. So, the last thing that I mentioned on our last video blog was I was going to talk about how did JJH Auto Body and Paint actually get started. And the way that worked was there was a lot of steps that we had to do before that. But before I get into that, I wanted to mention, first of all, what does JJH stand for? JJH stands for, the first J is for Geronimo, which is my dad's name. The second J is Johnny, which is my name. And Hernandez, which is our last name. So when we were going into starting the business, we were thinking about how do we go about doing it. So the first step that needed to be done is we had to create a business plan. In the business plan, we talked about and we meditated on what would our sales be compared to what our expenses would be when running the business. And when we started to factor in the numbers, we saw that the numbers were pointing positive in our favor. So we wouldn't and decided to move forward. So the second step that we actually did is we went in and we started to look for a place where we can actually open a shop. We went into a few banks to get some financial advice as to what they would recommend our next option would be. And they actually suggested that we ended up leasing instead of trying to buy a property, because they figured if you lease a property, you won't know how the business does, and what if it doesn't go well. You're able to just close the business and not have any type of liabilities. But when going back and we sat down with my dad and we looked at the numbers, we realized, hey, you know what, it actually ends up being cheaper to own versus leasing, because we could get a great rate on the loan. So we ended up going with our instinct, and we ended up buying a property instead of actually leasing it. We started the business. The lot was actually bought in 2006 is when we decided to start the business. But during that time, it's actually when the recession would hit, the hardest, and that's where it all started to go downhill. So a lot of friends and family were actually very discouraging, saying that it wasn't a good time to open a business because a lot of businesses were shutting down. But we stayed positive, me and my dad, and we figured, no, this is something we've committed to doing. Let's see it through to the end. So in 2008, we actually started building the construction of the shop, and in 2009, we ended up opening for business for the first time to the general public. There was a lot of factors that came in after that. We started with 1 employee. Now we currently have 11 employees. So that's actually, showing how well the business is doing. So there was a few other factors that led to our success, which I would like to discuss in our next video blog, which I hope you will continue to join us. Again, I'll talk about what made JJH successful. Thank you. See you then.